Hi, my name is Sam Goldman with NPR Labs, and today I'm going to do a brief walkthrough of our new mapping and population system. To get to the software, go to nprlabs.org, and in the main heading under Research you can find entries for radio and TV. They go to the same place, but radio will bring us just starting with the radio tab. The software should start you off in your own city based on the IP address of the computer you're using. So for me, it started us in Washington, D.C. You can see these green dots here. They represent radio stations. If we zoom out, we'll get more radio stations up here in Baltimore and Frederick. Clicking on a station will bring up a list of all stations at that current location. Here there's WAMU and WPFW. We can get more information by clicking and having it expand. We can see frequency, channel, class, licensee, city of license, things like that, as well as facility ID and record number, so you can look up more information with the FCC. Here we have buttons for the different overlays that are available. I'm going to click an analog overlay for WAMU, and we'll zoom out and we can see that yes, in fact, WAMU has a nice little footprint here. We can put up multiple overlays at the same time, so here I'll get some stations in Philadelphia, WXPN. Put up their HD overlay. Transparency can be changed with this bar up here, making them very faint, or bringing them back and making them quite bright. So it starts somewhere in the middle. I think that's a pretty reasonable spot for viewing. Stations that are active in the viewable public stations list come up to the top and are shaded themselves. That's to differentiate them from stations which have not been activated, which can be found down here. The reason for this is that if we were to scroll away, drag the map, and WAMU and WXPN, the two stations that are currently active, we can both turn off their overlay with even if a corner of their coverage seeps into the map area, or in the case of XPN it doesn't at all. In addition, clicking on a call sign will bring up the information for any station here. So if we want to jump back to WXPN, all we have to do is click and the map chugs over to Philadelphia here. Other stations we can turn on just through these buttons here. So I'm going to turn on the analog coverage for WBAI, and we can turn it back off using the icon here, which also is an indicator to show you which overlay you've selected. Turning on the commercial station dots, we can see there are now a whole bunch of red dots all over the screen. These red dots are the commercial stations, and even though they don't have any coverage information, you still have a little bit of information about them. Donut shape icons show transmitters, repeaters, and low power stations, whereas the filled in dots show full service. We can see here in a case where quite a few stations exist in one place, all of the public stations are always marked as such. Zooming in further, we can see that fewer stations pull up because now we can differentiate between their locations. Using the search bar, we can search for a station. Let's try WTMD. Bring this up. Turn on the analog coverage. We can also search for addresses, so I'll put in NPR's headquarters here in Washington, D.C. on Massachusetts Avenue, and it gives us an indicator of the exact address. We can put in multiple at one time. Let's put in the White House, and we can see the White House is closer to having outdoor reception than we are here at NPR. All dots stay on the map until you clear the location pins. We can search for entire cities. We can search for states. We can search coordinates. 39.62 minus 78.223. And oh look, there's a commercial station right here. Coincidence. The map underlays are selectable of various kinds. We can see the effect of the mountains on WTMD. We can click on a roads map, which gives us more political boundary information, or we can click on a satellite hybrid map. Makes it a little bit harder to see the overlays, but we can always brighten them up here. Turn the commercial stations off. You can put the legend up, which shows you what the different colors mean for analog and IBOC in terms of their field strength and what that might mean in terms of reception ability. The system also supports television. We can see here's a public TV station and pop its coverage up onto the map. Let's turn that down, turn the legend off, clear location pins, and we can see the coverage of WMBP in the Baltimore area. Lastly, we can take a look at mobile handheld television. This service is only available for full service stations between channels 14 and 69. So you can see here these are not full service stations, and they don't have, even though they are public, they don't have a button to turn on the coverage. In Philly we have some stations. WHYY is channel 12, so that's also doesn't have an overlay for mobile handheld. If we click on a station that does, you can see here we go, and it's nice and it has different colors. The mobile handheld coverage overlays are taking advantage of land use, land cover data. This is data from the USGS regarding what different pieces of land are being used for, whether it's forest, agriculture, urbanized development. Using this data, we can make our models a little bit more accurate because there's more loss when RF travels through dense forest or an urban area than if it's agricultural land or open water. You can see the effects here that open water, where it's all homogeneous LULC or land use land cover data, we don't have the salt and pepper effect that we do here in the land. The service also supports demographic information by clicking on the Demographics tab. Here we have WMBP, and it's showing us the fixed TV reception coverage census year 2010, and here are the population breakdowns for that area. We can see we have age breakdowns, race, household, and total pop. We can look at different census years. The year 2000 gives us quite a bit more resolution for demographic information. We have more demographic breakouts available. We also have the 1990 census. We can also choose a different coverage type. So in this case, we can look at mobile handheld television for the same station and flip it back to fixed TV. We can search for stations here. Coming back to the radio, we can search for a station here, and it will notice it pre-populates with suggestions. If we put in WD, there are lots of different things, and we can just click on WDET, or we can type the full call sign. Let's go to WDUQ and hit enter, and it brings us there as well. Now we can flip back to the Demographics tab, looking at radio information, and you can see we have more coverage breakdowns here. IBOC. Well, I hope you enjoy the service. The last two things to keep in mind are that there is always a help file available that has information regarding what I've just talked about and goes into some more detail about what Maps is doing and how you can best use it. And if you do want to make a print, try clicking the print formatting, which shrinks the map down to a size that will more easily fit onto 8.5 by 11 printout. So I hope this is helpful, and always check back at nprlabs.org for new software and new information.